two dope dudes, bringing you the news, leading you to much success with all their insightful views. Do you grow yourself or buy from the top shelf? Are you here to take the reins and gain back your health? Whatever it is, you know the biz. Leave a like, crack a pipe, and let's get on with it. If you want to acquire the knowledge, you don't have to go to college. You can just come hang with Aaron and Dave.
Welcome to the Elevated News Podcast with Two Dope Dudes. We're a podcast focused on discussing local and national cannabis news and culture. I'm Aaron.
I'm Dave.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It snowed like crazy yesterday, didn't it?
Super weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good though. It's a pretty nice day. It's a third winter. Now it's, almost real spring.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm doing okay, man. Everything seems to be going well in life right now.
Brother, one day at a time. We're almost
Yeah.
back to where it's like the holy grail season of disc golfing and outdoor adventuring and cannabis consumption, hanging out around a grill. And yeah, kind of just the finer
Smoking joints outside.
community shit.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. For sure, man. How's everything else going? Like how's
Okay.
You want to get into it a little bit, or you want to
I'm sure. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Tired
No.
of being bullied by a fucking industry, bro.
Well, the industry seems to be almost, in shambles.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about some of this stuff today. No, I just nobody's pinpointing you, well, whatever, right? The world, it's just my perspective on things. But like,
Oh yeah.
I definitely have gone through some dumb shit here recently that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Um, and because they hide behind the veils and behind the licenses and whatever, these people act fucking weird sometimes, act a little shady. It's weird how like unaccountable anybody in
Yeah.
the cannabis space is.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking everybody. Again, they're pointing outward. They're delegate. Nobody's fucking responsibility. It's just so crazy. Yeah, but
Yeah,
own up to your shit.
Yeah, own up to
Pay
your
your
shit.
fucking debts. You know what I mean? Fucking quit taking more than you can fucking do anything with. You're selling weed, motherfuckers, and you ain't good at it. All right. So the thing is, how are you gonna pay your debts if you ain't good at what you do? That's on you. All right. Well, we got our license and we got our edge of the market and we're in bed with every other play. Yeah. Well, you know what? We all keep voting and the vote goes Michigan, motherfuckers. All right. I'm just saying.
No,
Anyway,
we got stuff to talk about Michigan too. I don't
well,
know
I
if you
seen this.
looked at
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a perspective on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the news because we got good stuff to talk about today. We'll just get plugs out of the way real quick. You can find us, the Elevated News Podcast, on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all your other favorite streaming and podcast apps. Two Dope Dudes YouTube channel. Give us a like, leave a review. If you're a podcast listener, jump over to YouTube, give us a like if you like. We'd appreciate it. And then you can find us at supportdopepeople.com along with links to our other pods and merch and stuff. And then you'll see the little ticker down at the bottom with all our promo codes for our friends out there who have quality products that we love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you doing on Thursday?
Yeah.
Come hang out with me. Peace, love, and cope on YouTube. A lot of you do. It's been a lot of fun lately. It's just a live session. It's a community of like-minded, and sometimes we're playing games and sometimes we're whatever, but literally it is just a direct access to me. I do have a unique perspective on how to use cannabis. And I think that it is the best way for you to take your health back into your hands. It's a ticket to your own success, right?
That's
but you
right.
need to know how to do it.
Yep.
And it's not that hard. I promise you. Anybody, y'all are figured out. And a lot of you out there already know how to do it. So that's probably why we're not asking questions. But
Come hang out in a
becomes a direct
community of like-minded people, and you can help answer questions like the rest of us sometimes when
100%.
people come in. And
Yeah.
sometimes people have, bad opinions about cannabis. And I mean bad as in they are incorrect. And we politely inform them why they're wrong.
Communally, here's the thing. We all have a perspective on something
Hmm.
that is probably wrong, and it's not that it's
Sure.
bad or anything, it's just that we made our feelings up about it, that's it, it's over.
And we don't
And
have the knowledge behind it to make, to argue our points or to understand why our opinion is wrong, and so we just help provide what those facts are in a, fun environment.
yeah, one of my really good friends came in, we were talking the other night, and he said something incorrect about cannabis, and literally without me, I mean, I have to state my points, but the whole community jumped on and was like,
Mhm.
"Listen, you're saying this incorrectly." And it
Yeah.
was about the use of cannabis, I believe, in children,
Yep.
which again, it's if I could fight for
Mhm.
one thing,
Yeah.
if there was, like, laws and shit that I
Yep.
would be willing to go down to Springfield
Yeah.
and, like, bust my dick over, it would be for getting kids
Yep.
children access to cannabis because it's far better an alternative to some of the things that we're pumping them up with as children.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as like low dosing and not using much of the intoxicants and whatever, like there's complete ways in this plant to alleviate a lot of um, conditions, including number one, epilepsy. In
Yep.
children, it's yeah.
And that's
Why aren't we
huge.
using this
That's
more?
it's something near and dear to my heart. My older brother had grand mal seizures, and as a child, I saw a bunch of his. When he was not much older than me. So, that stuff's kind of heartbreaking and like, you know, it's really scary. So like, kids
It
deserve not to have to go through that, regardless.
The other thing so, like, for us who just see it, it's terrifying, like,
Hmm.
imagine being the parent of, right?
Hmm.
Because your whole job as a parent is to protect and keep them
That's
safe and
right.
do whatever, and, like, you are unable to do much, and you're
Anything.
going to the doctors.
Yeah.
You're doing everything you can. You're
Hmm.
committing everything you've got to these doctors, to the visits, to the
Yep.
whatever, but the seizures just keep happening,
Yep.
and it just keeps happening, and
Yep.
we're dosing give them more, give them more, give them a
Yep.
little bit more, give them a little bit
Yep.
like, with me, I'm like, "Bro, give them less of even the
Yeah.
stuff that I'm trying to give them. Let's find
The
the
sweet spot. Yeah, let's find the spot where efficacy is outweighing any effects, and it brings whatever your symptoms are down. Like
we had
let's
a
find that sweet spot, you
I
know.
think we had she was either 12 or 13 when she used to come in, young girl
Hmm.
who was having literally, like, multiple temporary lapse seizures a day and sometimes 2 or 3 grand moles in a day, right?
Yeah.
There she said there was not a week that went by without multiple grand moles, and I was like, "Holy shit."
Wow.
She said there's not a week for her entire life, got into cannabis, went 200 plus days without a single grand mal seizure.
Man,
It
let's
was the
go.
crazy like, for
Let's
me, I'm like,
go.
"There's no fucking way," right? Like, this has gotta be I didn't even believe it.
That's miracle. You know what I mean?
Well, so then, like, 200 and something days into it, her mom comes back freaking out. "Oh my god, she had a seizure. What do we do? How do we're gonna increase this. We gotta fix this. We gotta make it right." I'm like, "Bruh,
Wow.
why would we change anything? If anything, like, maybe" she is an epileptic, right? And we know what epilepsy does, and we understand
Hmm.
we've been through the seizures many times. Why don't we even decrease? Because
Yep.
what if we're just having this too consistently
Right.
has caused a buildup of something where
Hmm.
maybe let's not immediately shoot for more. Let's shoot for less and see
Yep.
what the rebound is. Because if more grand malls, well, then okay, back to the level that was doing
Right.
it and see where we can sustain it. But like maybe we've oversaturated, right?
Sure.
Think of it from both directions, and that was what, like, in the same way medical practice is practicing, a
Hmm.
lot of us who were in the cannabis industry at the beginning we were just bouncing ideas off of each other. Why not this? Why I understand what you're saying, but, like, increasing is only gonna cost you more money. You're gonna
Right.
consistently spend more, but then, like, we went 200 days without. Why not just stay the course and
Yeah.
do nothing, right? Like, if we're gonna do one thing, go less than more, my opinion.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and then it's not to do science at the risk of somebody having more grand mal seizures, because I think that's what, like, so what are you saying? It's okay if they do? No, it's that we
Mm,
understand that they do, right? Like, there's an unfortunate truth
right.
to somebody who
You
is an
can't
epileptic,
you
but
can't you can't cure it
w
until,
w
like
regulation.
right,
That's
it's
literally all
regulation,
this thing
but
is.
it's the same with when you go to the doctor, you can treat the symptoms, you can treat the disease, you know what I mean? You're shooting for how do we, treat the symptoms to a manageable level, you know what I mean? If we can treat the disease, we treat the disease, if not, then we're just treating symptoms. If you're going down to 1.1 grand mal seizure a year, then that's better than,
Well,
two a
and
week. You know what I mean? So
100%.
like it's the same thing. So I'm making that comparison. Like that's no different than anything else, really. You
And
know?
even when, like, I've always said the same, right? How many actual conditions is cannabis actually treating
Hmm.
comparatively to it being a massive symptom alleviant, right?
Right.
We understand that. We know that it's a Swiss Army knife of symptom alleviation. It is not like, even in epilepsy, it's weird to say we're treating epilepsy directly, or cannabis is capable of treating the condition epilepsy.
Hmm.
Um, because seizures are almost a symptom of epilepsy, right? So it's
Right.
not that a seizure is epilepsy, it's
Right.
that epilepsy causes seizures. So there is
Right.
a symptom, and so you are treating the symptom of, but
Right.
where I believe that, like, they should use cannabis over other things is because the other things that we use in epilepsy a lot of times,
Hmm.
um will give symptom alleviation, will reduce seizure activity.
Sure.
Um, but a lot of times, like, we still, even in that, like I said, the 12-year-old kid, we saw continuous seizure activity,
Right.
where once she was introduced with cannabis, we saw long-term seizure reduction, but then we saw it happen again, and then we saw long-term seizure reduction again afterwards. That
Hmm.
was in 2015, right? So
Right.
this girl's in her, like, she's in her 20s now.
Yeah.
Um, as far as I knew the last time, and my buddy still worked there, I think, in 2021, right after, well, recreation came in 2020, so maybe
Hmm.
until later parts of 2020.
Right.
As far as I knew, that girl had reduced using CBD every single day and started to just use THC and stuff, and seemed to have the same level of regulation, where she understood, yes, seizure is a possibility, but she was still at the 1 every 6-month rate or something of that nature,
Yeah.
even without doing direct CBD treatments consistently. And I was like, "Holy shit, like, is that even real?" You know? And, like, that's the whole thing, like, is it a it's a per case instance, right? But,
Hmm.
like, those are the ones where we should be looking more into it, where it's like, did we was there a condition treatment? Is there something in epilepsy that is treatable, that whatever the condition itself is, can we progress through it where it's not so aggressively attacking, and we've at least put it at bay? And I don't know the science behind as much as I have been around cannabis enough and been around people enough who have had the experiences where, like, they've reduced the seizure activity. And it's not
Well,
just
I would
children,
I
right?
I would assume that it would be because, well, epilepsy happens in your brain. It has to do, with a, overload of signals, that the
And
brain
that's
sends out. And we've talked, if you watched, Know Your Cannabinoids and Know Your Terpenoids with Dave, we've talked about cannabinoids that, affect the, neural pathways in the brain more than the other ones. And so I'm assuming that we're regulating our endocannabinoid system in the brain. And so it's either it's allowing better signal pathways or less noise,
in
etc.
this in the same way that, like, we use CBD, maybe THC, for PTSD,
Mhm.
right? Where it's a what it does is like the responses are now suppressed and or sent to a different pathway because the brain is stimulated in the way that it is. The CB1s in are in
Right.
conjunction stimulating the brain the way that it is, where maybe the whatever signaling is getting sent has been suppressed or moved to a different thing, and our brain has a new pathway now. Like we've built a new pathway in the same way why I talk about psilocybin so much with these things is because it kind of helps rewire the brain, right? Like
Sure.
all, our brain is a neural network, period. It's just got a bunch of, electrical signaling. And some of those canals for signaling are closed off or damaged or whatever it is. Some of the circuit boards, some of the places have been damaged themselves. And by getting either more juice to the broken one itself or cleaning up the broken one or opening the pathways to just get more signaling or just opening a whole new pathway, right? Who
Sure.
knows what the actual truth is? All I know is I've seen it work way more um, than the medicines that these people came in. And at a certain point, I needed to like know all
Yeah.
of the medicines that everybody was bringing in, and I was like, okay, well, I trying to keep it all straight. And then I was like, wait a minute, like if everybody's using just a laundry list of shit,
Yep.
but then they're switching away from laundry lists, and I literally watch people take teens of different medications
Yep.
out of their diets by purely adding one from cannabis.
Yeah,
And,
and
like
cannabis is great for the brain. Brain spasticity is huge. In you were talking about psilocybin and regenerating neural pathways. I like how you said that. Something that I have used in the past is I liken it to having ships and ports, and either you don't have enough ports and too many ships, and that's how I explain ADD, or you have too many ports and not enough ships, or
yep.
they get crossed up and then it turns into epilepsy. But psilocybin, drinking water, uh you know
I mean,
getting 7 hours of sleep so you can clean those neural pathways of the salts and whatnot. Like this is all things you can do, and cannabis is just one of the great ways that it'll just help you out, man. It'll regulate some stuff.
yeah,
And hell yeah,
yeah. No, I'm a
I'm
but
into it.
yeah, um, I don't even know where this all started, but,
Epilepsy.
more what's that?
Epilepsy.
Yeah, what were we talking about, though? Oh, cannabis
Oh, we were
pre-conditioned.
talking about people in the community who have bad opinions, and as a
Oh,
community, yeah, that's how it all
that's where
started.
it all started. Yep, that's where it all started. Yep. Hey, listen, I love everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, do
It's
you
all good.
boo-boo? If
It's all
if it's
good.
not
Stop yelling though.
what's that?
It's all good. Just stop yelling though.
For real. For real.
YouTube comments, last one, or last episode 82, uh, where we talked about air sale, January rec numbers, and confusion in Ohio hemp. IG hashaholic, easiest case you can make for marijuana. How many deaths has alcohol caused versus weed? Crazy how much money has been lobbied against cannabis. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I think is it like, maybe my numbers are off, but I think, like, alcohol in America
Hmm.
is, like is it 200,000 deaths a year?
Something like that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we've gone through it. Yeah.
Yep. Maybe it's 60K. I don't know, it's
And
crazy.
shout outs to all the homies that joined in the live chat. Macho Grams be savage, the
Oh, Mr.
homie.
Macho.
Macho's the man. Chi-Town Hi-Fi, also the man. John Voight also helps dispel bad information along with me in Dave's chat. Love that
Yep.
guy.
Love me
Pete
some John.
Pete from Heisenberg.
Chi-Town Hi-Fi has been fucking great too.
He's awesome. Remember, he was the one who listened and turned Elisa on, right?
Elisa
Who
and
was
Angela are
his
fucking
teacher, who
awesome
I
too.
saw Saturday night at Sessions in Carroll Stream. If you're not at Sessions on Saturday night, what are you even doing with your life? you're not having fun. Salty One,
Chico
shout
wants
out to
everything.
him. Speaking of Elisa and Angelo,
So cool.
Corey from Kind Buds, Dank Nugs, check out his show on what is it? Monday nights. Actually, it's tonight. Yeah, check it out on YouTube. Good stuff. Cole Memo, Grojo, Panero Tree. You should also check out Panero Tree on Instagram. Love those guys. Who else? Yeah, that's it. So shout out to that. I know you want to get into this news. Let's get into this news.
Oh,
PharmaCann fails to pay rent again. Large cannabis REIT innovative industrial properties. Seems like they're I don't know, y'all can see that's how it's written. Reported this morning that its largest tenant, PharmaCann, failed to pay rent again. Recall that it had issued a press release on 12/20 that detailed the initial default. Near the end of January, it reported a default resolution, though it warned that the company needed to refinance its senior secured credit facility before June 30th. An SEC 8K filing, IIPR reported that PharmaCann failed to pay rent for March 9th on 11 of its properties. It suggested it may commence eviction proceedings. All this stuff doesn't matter. Here's the SEC. I was reading this, and so here we go. 11 properties that the company owns, which represented 17% of the company's total revenues for the end of year December 31st, 2024. On March 14th, PharmaCann defaulted on its obligations to pay rent for the month of March under 9 of its 11 leases for properties located in New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Colorado. March rent owed for these 9 leases, including base rent, property management fees, and estimated tax and insurance payments, totaled $2.7 million. That seems pretty low, to be honest. Monthly base rent of 1.3 for the remaining 2 leases, which are for cultivation properties in Michigan and Massachusetts, was previously abated in full effective February 1st, 2025, pursuant to the lease amendments the company entered with PharmaCann in January. So, looks like
wow.
PharmaCann is in trouble. And you used to work for PharmaCann, didn't you?
I did.
You did. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on this show, but I mean, how do you feel
I'm
about
not surprised. But
how do you feel about PharmaCann?
they've always been mids. And I don't think anybody's ever looked at that company and gone, "Oh my god." You know who did? MedMen. Where are they at?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Once the United States largest cannabis company, MedMen,
they
conglomerate.
listen, because I will never hate on something that you do well.
Hmm.
They used to make 4-to-1 apple gummies that were
Hmm.
fucking amazing. I will genuinely tell you they still do. I think they're out there. You could probably go buy them. I wouldn't spend my money on them necessarily,
Oh, can you
but
go to Starbucks and get it?
yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, they are they're just another one, right?
They suck, right?
I mean, I would generally say less good than good.
Djibouti.
Yeah, yeah, less good than good. But it's hard for me to say you're more good than bad in the cannabis industry,
That's true.
right? A lot of times, like, you gotta do something cool because, uh, stop playing Monopoly, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is just a monopoly board that's already made up. Nobody else gets an opportunity. The only thing you have a chance to be is one of those chance cards. You get to
Yep.
be a fancy little thing that either gets a few bucks every once in a while or takes a few bucks away, but you are not on the board, right? Like, even if you get a new license, you can't be part of what's going on. The way that this has been regulated
Hmm.
makes it impossible for average Joes like you or myself
That's
to
right.
access the equitability of what cannabis can be or the knowledge or skills that we have in cannabis proper, right? Like, I literally have
Hmm.
10 years of fucking doing the thing. I ran a couple of dispensaries. I understand the ins and outs of what's
Yep.
required to run a successful ship. I do not have the skills or, well, no, 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 no. I have the skills. I do not have the abilities or probably the funding to obtain a cannabis dispensary license, right?
Right.
Even if I did, I wouldn't fucking want the thing because I'm
Right.
not trying to compete against monsters, right? Like, and
Who
it's
wants to be in the regulated market in Illinois at this point?
the monsters. That's it.
Well, see, the thing is that everybody is just like they're trying to get in to play the game and then play the game long enough to actually wait for the
Here's it.
federal government to do something because
I think
otherwise everything's fucked up.
it's a
Like
long-term holding game
yeah.
so that you can sell your company at the highest price.
Mhm.
Nobody who currently runs cannabis companies wants to be in the fucking cannabis industry. They
Right.
want to they want to make money. That's it. They're
Right.
purely profiteers, which is I understand
Sure.
people who want to make money and whatever, but these people don't want to make money off of cannabis. They want to make money off the sale of their fucking companies. And I understand that. Like I get that. That's the American dream. You really want to do something? Where did Elon make his fucking money from,
Right.
right? Sold PayPal. Bingo bango, where the fucking it's just all of these things that these people did. They sell companies and then they reinvest and do the thing that they wanted to do. I don't know what anybody in the cannabis industry wants to do, but it's not fucking cannabis. You name one of them who does, I would happily like to sit across from them, maybe get a job with them or some shit. But like, it's not, and it's purely for profit. We understand this, and it's not
Sure.
a bad thing. I'm not mad at people
Well,
for
I
making
I think
fucking
there
money.
are
That's what I
people
would
out
say.
there who are participating in the cannabis industry that are uh, also doing good things for the community. I mean, look at the 1937 group who is actually out there participating in community things and trying to better the community with the profits that they make from their cannabis license. Like that's a good thing. There's very few people, but there are people doing that.
It
Otherwise, it's just a bunch of home growers and caregivers that actually care about cannabis and the plant and are interested in actually helping people, with access to cannabis and access to medicine,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I just
and nobody wants to participate in the market and just
if
look at the numbers.
if we tout that we're the greatest in the entire nation for diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Yep.
we are the most diverse cannabis. Okay, 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 okay. I hear you. You gave
Most,
out a bunch of licenses to
yep.
people who had a bunch of different boards that had a bunch of different. It
Sure.
was everything that you could wish for, right?
Right.
As far as people playing identity politics.
Sure.
So the problem with that is all of these people who are identity politics folks are allowing the people that they literally tried to enter the market to compete against and to
Hmm.
profit off of to manage their companies, right? So
Right.
the thing was, if you only allow the monsters to have 10 dispensaries apiece, now the thing is, there's 20 monster licenses, right? So in that, if each one of them has 200 fucking cannabis dispensaries, the state only has 250 right now or something, right?
Right.
So they could own, they don't. They could own 80% of the market right now.
Right.
The thing is, that's not even good enough for them. Now they all have management groups
Hmm.
and they're managing the other people who are whatever. So it's just increasing their footprints. They literally are going from 10 to who knows how many they're able to
Right.
manage under them. The only thing that sucks, okay, so now if you agree as a dispensary license owner to sleep in bed with somebody who's a monster, right? And they're going to manage your shit. What that does for you is it gives you access to their
Their shit.
product
Yep.
at a cheaper fucking rate, whatever. They give you some shelf space. They guarantee that you're going to have access to cannabis and we'll keep your store open and whatever. And you'll be able to run good sales. So you'll be able to compete in your local market, but you're only just a fucking another leg for them to shoot their shit out of.
Dave,
They
can I ask you a question in layman's terms? Because I think what you're describing, I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page. Are you telling me that the bigger cannabis license companies in Illinois are making new companies as management groups and then selling their services to the smaller companies so that they can also participate in the market?
Well,
Wow.
they're selling their services to the people who already now have
S-
licenses, right? So they've already entered the
So they're
market.
selling their management SOP to the smaller license. That's what you're saying.
I'm telling you, fuck that. They are sleeping together
Yeah,
so that either one of them can profit more.
sure.
There's nothing else to it. Management style, whatever,
S-
go manage your own shit.
sh-
That's your fucking shit. Your name's still on it. I'm just the management group. All I helped you do was to run your dispensary the proper way. I'm a retail manager. I can help tell you how to
Sure.
put it together. I can maybe help you with some of your SOPs and whatever, but I wouldn't want to go that far because then that gives me too much liability, right?
Right.
I'd rather just be a manager, oversee the way that you run it, tell you what to do, delegate, 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 and not take any responsibility for it,
Sure.
right? Which is fucking brilliant if you're the person delegating because now
Yeah.
what you just did is you opened another fucking avenue and
Yeah.
another place for
Yep.
your product to be
Correct.
vertically integrated through.
Yep.
It's you could only do it through 10
It's
spots
just another
before.
lane. It's another lane.
And how if
So
you run
so
the best.
these yeah, these companies are in essence participating in the market with more than one license that they're allowed to have. I mean, there's nothing illegal about what they're doing.
The
Uh,
people
they're not.
entering
Yeah.
the people entering the market with a craft license, let's call it
Hmm.
whatever, are selling their souls to the devil, right?
Yeah.
Without better terminology, you literally are going into this market with the ideas of I want to be a competitive business and I want to thrive and I want to be able to stand out and stand alone and do something that I'm good at. But
Hmm.
the problem is nobody there well, there's a few, and I don't wanna say nobody. There's probably I would say maybe 20%, right? Because 'Cause I'm gonna try and be
Sure.
conservative in this. There's probably 20% of the market who actually might care about cannabis.
Yeah.
It's hard to find them suckers. You're gonna find micro pockets of people who do, like,
Yeah.
cultivation groups
Yep.
who have gotten a few buddies together who are really good at growing. They're fucking making their genetics out at their house.
Hmm.
Their genetics are coming from the same
Yep.
places anybody's is, just fucking some
Yeah.
random guy. They're building up whatever they can at their house to get the best shit. They're taking it into the fucking dispensaries
Hmm.
or into the cultivations and growing it. And it's just a the level of whatever none of this exploration is happening in a cultivation center is all I'm
Right.
telling you. None
No.
of this shit is happening.
I mean, if you listen to what's going on, like in the cultivation centers, they're got their own problems. I heard,
Jesus Christ, dude. PTS
PTS had to
revolution.
cut down. Yeah, Revolution had to cut down. Like they got problems, and it's all new management groups too.
But
If
we're saying that they have problems. The problem that they have is now they have to cut down. They're not able to profit maximally, and that might not be true. Who knows what the maximum profit rate of
Mhm,
cannabis is? I think just selling raw flower makes the most sense for it to be the most profitable from top to bottom, right?
free
Because
rolls.
anything else that you take flower product from, now they're taking a lot of the trash recycling system, juice in it and then fucking giving you those products, right? In your
Yep,
edibles, in your vape carts,
yep.
in your concentrates. A lot of times that is not the premium product. They're not going to take some nugs and shit because they can take this plant and sell it for 60 buck an eighth or whatever the hell it is. And then it's great because also it's one of the lesser taxed products, but it's one of the most sold products. So like
Mhm.
it looks good to the state. Wow, we're giving you all this fucking looch, you know? All the while, I'm recycling the fuck out of these rooms full of aphid kush
Yeah,
and fucking mite cookies, right? Like just anything that has mold, spores, uh,
I mean, we've saw some pictures recently. What was it? Corner Boys had had moldy weed. I showed you those pictures last week.
Yeah,
My
Corner
buddy,
Boys did,
yeah,
but
my buddy Ghost Pharaohs took those.
didn't PTS just get whacked with a bunch of mold shit? Isn't Rev being fucking outed for how they've got mold or
Yep.
mites and fuck all kinds of
Well,
issues?
my
But
my understanding is that PTS has a new management group for their cultivation center, and the new manager did not tell the person in charge of IPM about the aphids, and then the aphids went and just went into a some ducting and nested over the winter, and then infested the whole thing. And then they fucking so they had to cut it all down. And then somebody at the cultivation center fucking took hundreds of gallons of bleach and they put that down the drain after using that to clean the trays. And so then there was like they had ammonia nitrate to dump down after the bleach. It's a mess. People, it's crazy.
oh man.
Yeah, Madon, right?
Mar-
Madon. Um let's look at
Dave.
Illinois. Let's look at Illinois cannabis numbers real quick.
Yeah.
Um because we got this to get to. IDPH released its February 2025 medical cannabis sales totals. Medical retail sales of medical cannabis for February slumped to 19 million, which was the lowest total since June 2019. Yes, under 20 million. This followed January 2025 totals of almost 21.5 million, which was the lowest total since July 2019. So that's like that's a lot, dude. That's a lot. I mean,
Wow.
look, we've been we've been talking about it for a while. Uh, 33 million or 331 was it million 2020, 397, 353, 324, 285. 2024 medical sales totals. Look at that jump, dude. Look at that
Wow.
jump.
Wow. 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 Well, it's
It's
just been depleting, and I would tell you price compression has something to do with this. I I know personally a lot of people that I used to see from medical dispensaries that I worked at in the past who are coming through to the recreational only dispensary that I worked for most recently, who said, "What the fuck's the difference? I'm not gonna buy enough anyway." And
right.
like at this point, it's just I'm spending more time trying to hunt down one of these medical facilities instead of just coming to the place that's right around the corner from my house. I got to go all the way the fuck across town to get to the closest one. It doesn't make sense. I'll just come here. I was like, damn. All right. So a lot of that has happened. Um, but yeah, I mean,
She that's pretty crazy, right?
yeah.
I mean, and then
Wow.
also we have Michigan. I found some Michigan cannabis sales stuff that I thought was interesting. I'm hoping we can continue to report on some of this stuff because Michigan cannabis sales continued its monthly decline in February, down 4.7% for adult use to 241.3 million after January declined to 247.3 million from December sales of 264.7 million. Medical sales fell to just 632,000.
No
That's
way.
crazy.
Whoa. Whoa. I did not know
That's
that. That is.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad I
Look.
finally found like some Michigan numbers that are being reported on so we can talk about it instead of me just saying, well, I
Yep.
hear that Michigan's like not doing well.
No, well, okay, so like uh yeah. I would imagine that a lot of this has to do with the same tightening and squeezing and the
Sure.
big drop in the fucking stock market recently. This has to do with consumer sentiment. There's all of this shit is just baked in to the numbers and the fluctuations that we've probably seen in the last 2 months, right? If fucking you know the S&P fucking dropped the way that it did, fucking Nvidia, all them things, like, money went down.
Dave, it says that they only sold 155 pounds of flour in February.
Wait, hold on, wait, what?
Wait, that's crazy.
No, 100 pounds sold,
Okay.
101,442 in February,
And
and
then
then
at the
oh, this
bottom,
is
it said
medical, then at the bottom, they
bottom
sold
155.
151 pounds of medical cannabis.
That's
Bro, that's what you're saying?
bro, that's
Whoa.
crazy.
Whoa.
That's crazy, dude. Medical is like edibles. People are on the edibles.
Wow, this
They
is
sold
wild. These
they
numbers
sold
are really cool to see,
they
actually.
sold more infused edibles than they did flour. That's crazy. 21 million versus 105 million, but still.
Dude, there is
Yeah,
more. It's so crazy to see this. There's more
I
like
know.
infused liquid sales in the recreational side than there is in the almost double than the entire medical. That's just so wild to me. But it's got to be because the cost is just so effective to begin with. This is access to cannabis the
Yes,
way
that's
that
true.
I would like to see access to cannabis.
Yeah, where you can
Fucking
just go and get access.
well, and
And
that's it. I calling it either one, adult use, medical, whatever the hell, recreational, whatever words you want to use, it's just cannabis use. And I think if you use it properly, then it can be medical use. And I think if you use it properly, it could just be a great time for recreation, right? Like, but you know, this is having access to it. And they're generating $3 billion plus of revenue a year.
yeah,
Um, Illinois is doing half of that.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
And the numbers are going down. Well, numbers are going down here too, as we see, but I think that's just a whole market thing, right? But numbers are going down in Illinois drastically because of the shift towards. I have personal friends who I know spend way more money than in Michigan than I've ever. But when they come back, they're like, "I actually have enough to be fine for the next
yeah,
3 months. I don't have
yeah.
to take a you know what I mean? And ins I spent they would spend the same amount of money here in 2 weeks of
Mm.
use as what they've done for 3 months of use out there, right? So, like,
I think
yeah, we're voting with our wallets,
Grojo
and
was asking for Michigan recommendations at the last show, by the
what's that?
way. Speaking of Michigan, our friend Grojo was asking for dispensary recommendations. Who do you like up in Michigan?
I go to Puff a lot.
Okay.
Jars is pretty good.
Okay.
There's a bunch, right? But like that's the beauty of that market up there is you can go from place to place to place. And there's depending on what city you're in, there can be 7 to 10 of them on the same street. You
Yep.
literally just go from place to it's next to the Walmart too. You know what I mean? It's in the same parking lot as a Walmart. You're not like a criminal. You're not hidden in some factory, whatever
Sure.
it's industrial parks and shit. You literally are out in the public. You're able to bounce from place to place. You're able to speak freely like an adult. You're not scared when you leave these places. Cops in Michigan don't give a fuck about cannabis. And it's not that if you misrepresented yourself,
Right.
they wouldn't
If you're a bunch of spring break kids being dumb stoners and you're going to
um,
get treated like dumb spring break kids being
probably no matter
stoners.
where you're at. If you're respectful
Fair.
about whatever you
Yes.
do, and if cannabis is the worst thing that you're found with, you're not as criminalized as you are here. And is the penalty arguably the same state to state? I actually don't know what the both are, but I would far rather, me personally, I would far rather deal with Michigan law in cannabis than I would rather deal with Illinois law in cannabis. Illinois is confused still.
Yeah,
Very.
absolutely. Hey, I know you talked about this a little bit on Thursday, last Thursday night, but This is our last little news segment. FDA sends warning to California cannabis company over its especially concerning injectable CBD product.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. FDA has issued a warning letter to California company for marketing an injectable cannabis product while making unsanctioned claims about its potential health benefits. Uh, this is the
I
Pico
once I read this
IV.
because they're only selling it to clinicians and doctors' offices and stuff. It's the picture that we see up top here with the needle hanging out. Nobody likes needles, right?
Right,
Like that's a little bit sketch. I don't necessarily think that you need intravenous s- cannabinoids, even CBD.
right,
Um, the reason I don't is because of there are so many other methods of ingestion where my guesstimation is you should be able to receive cannabinoids in your system and get them to circulate without forcing them into your bloodstream.
right.
I mean, directly injecting them into your bloodstream. That seems a bit extreme for my, you know, if you would rather go to a place and have them intravenously administer you CBD because you are intimidated to smoke something,
Sure.
we've missed, right? Um,
So it seems like the FDA actually just sent a letter because of the way they're marketing this, not that it is a bad product. It
correct.
is
That's
just
what I'm
how they're
saying. I
how they're selling it to the people.
Yeah.
So this is probably for like not for necessarily hospitals, but this is like one of those places you go for like liquid IV or like one of those places.
Bingo, and
Maybe some
that's
PRP or
the people who are selling vitamin C injections
yeah,
and
for
or
sure.
whatever the hell it is, right? Like I'm sure that's the same places that this is going on to begin with. And I don't see it as a problem necessarily. It completely depends. Um, Dosing would be cool to understand. There's a lot of things that I would like to know personally.
Yeah,
Where again, I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, maybe. I just don't necessarily know it yet, right? Nor do I know what the benefit of
E-
a direct intravenous
this is going to be like
ingestion.
part of a concoction at like some high end spa. You
Well,
know what I mean? That's what this is.
and that's my guesstimation, right? It's got CBD and vitamin B12 and fucking all these vitamins, and then it's got CBD and then hippie woo woo, right? Which is fine. But even then, if this company is purely administering raw CBD intravenously, right? Or a clean method of CBD intravenously, then like
Yeah.
I'm all the way personally, like I said, I'm for clean ingestion. I just don't know if this is the way you need to. I would personally, me personally, I don't like needles and shit,
Yeah,
but I
I
would
don't
rather
mind
use
them.
a suppository than to do this.
Well, yeah, we had talked about the let's see, the adulterated what was it, the CBD coated tampons
Yeah,
uh
that's
earlier, and then we that led into another discussion about suppositories. Hell
oh,
yeah.
they pulled their market. Well,
Yeah.
and see, um, like I said,
This is what marijuana moment does. They'll do so this is like this is the end of the thing. Then there's this thing about Trump that I don't know why it means on anything, and then it just gives you links to a bunch of other stuff.
oh, a little bit of okay.
Yeah, so no, it's just I've read enough marijuana moment. I know that's how they do it. So
No, it's all good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
yeah.
seen them too. No, but yeah,
Ooh.
no need to ingest.
Yeah, no need to ingest. Pennsylvania lawmaker files bill to protect medical marijuana patients from DUI charges. I saw this just this morning before we started recording and put it in here because I wanted to talk about it real quick. Pennsylvania lawmakers reintroduced a bill meant to protect medical marijuana patients from facing DUI charges where there is no proof that they are actually impaired behind the wheel. Rep. Chris Rabb filed legislation and circulated a co-sponsorship memo this week urging his colleagues to join him in his latest effort to enact the reform. The memo says that since the state legalized medical marijuana, many patients have shared their horror stories about being arrested and convicted of driving under the influence of cannabis without any proof of impairment. That is why this legislation is being introduced yet again, as the current law must be amended to allow responsible drivers who are also medical cannabis patients to operate a motor vehicle legally. Rab, it's Rab, right? Like
I think
Rab
so.
himself. Remember the old Bam Margera?
Yeah,
Yeah, Rab himself. This is Pennsylvania. They're probably, maybe that's who it is.
dude,
I'm
how
I'm
awesome.
sure I'm sure that they, oh, I'm sure it's not actually him, but I'm
I'm
sure
you and
they're
me
actually
both,
related.
because I know who Rab is. There's no way
Yeah.
he's a fucking politician now, but
That'd be weird.
yeah,
Uh,
it'd be wild.
Emphasizing that the legislation does not extend to any illegal cannabis use, nor does it protect impaired drivers. So it would amend the current state statute to make it so the presence of cannabis metabolites in a drug test alone could not be used as evidence of impaired driving if the person is a registered medical marijuana patient. Uh, Although it would not extend to those who hold a CDL because that's different.
I'm
This is fucking awesome.
I've always said it for the whole time. How would you ever be sure that the cannabis that is lingering in our fat cells and in our whatever is not from days ago? And if you want to orally swab me, then you're telling me that from what I've heard, oral swabs theoretically could detect cannabis up to 48 hours. So you mean I couldn't do something 2 days ago and still get in a car? I have to wait 2 days to drive? No, that's not true. We know
Mhm.
the impairment's gone shortly after.
Right.
Um, I just don't understand how there will ever be a regulation against this that makes sense to any of us who are like intelligent to cannabis use. For all
Yeah.
of us who have used this thing for a longer time, there is a we all could probably overdo it, right?
Yep.
Each one of us knows if we sat here and domed f 10 blunts just back to back to back, we would be obliterated, right?
Yep.
I think I just made that word up again.
No, you said it. You said it two
I'm
weeks
gonna keep
ago,
using
or
it.
3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, you commented that you said obliterated. You're good at
I'm gonna
that.
keep saying it.
It's like Djibouti.
Yeah,
People like
obliterate.
the Djibouti
Go
thing.
get obliterated off of 10 to the dome, to do some
Yeah.
blinkers and shit.
Hmm.
No, I just,
Shout
I
out
think
Nico.
there is a misuse in this thing that could actually, overdo it, but I think for a lot of us, we know how much we need. We've regulated ourselves a million times. I'm not gonna overdo it.
Yeah.
How many times I've been sitting around something where I'm like, "I don't want that anymore. I'm good. I'm fine."
Yeah.
Oh, don't awe me. I'm old enough. I know what the hell I want and what I don't want, and that's
Yep.
what, like, fucking peer pressured in cannabis. Just smoke what you want to or can. Don't
Nope.
quit overdoing it, right? Um, but there is a drivability in the level of intoxication that I'm willing to get, right? Like I'm fully in control with whatever the hell I'm doing. I'm never like so out of control or so like mind in the clouds because of my intoxication with cannabis to where I feel like I don't want to drive a vehicle. And it's not that like I'm going to smoke a fucking bong right now and then go run and jump in the car. That's not necessarily my style either. Like, I don't know. I also have back in the day, we used to all drive around and smoke a joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
There's
For
open
sure.
consumption states for alcohol still. People are still allowed to
Yeah, you
drive
can drive through
around.
fucking liquor stores.
What's that?
Drive through liquor stores.
And you can drink in the car.
Hmm.
So, like, it's what level of intoxicated are you? Where are you at in impairment to where you actually should not be driving a vehicle?
Right.
And
Because you're allowed to have 0.8% alcohol.
yeah,
So
0.08 or whatever the fuck it is.
that's when you're legally impaired.
Yeah, but
So
that's the
you can be
dumbest.
impaired, at point 0.8, but where legality So the state's saying some sort of impairment is okay. Is all I'm saying for
Well, and
alcohol.
that's it.
That's what I'm
That's it.
saying. That's no, no. That's the
You're
point I'm trying
allowed
to
to
make.
you're allowed to consume 2 beers and then drive, right?
If you wait an hour, technically, according to your body weight, you can only be zero point 0.8, which is like one beer
Well, and what is that point oh eight, and when does it
or
set
point oh
in,
0.08. Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's just a million factors, and it's what sucks with any of this is that we've got yeah, you have access to something that they also can incriminate you over. They
Yep.
allow in alcohol, you could buy the whole entire fucking liquor store and then go to the next liquor store, buy that entire one, take all that liquor back to your house and just start putting it in shelves. You're okay. No problem. If you have more
Absolutely.
than 30 grams of cannabis in Illinois without a medical license, you're somehow a criminal. When these monsters are selling 53,000 different patients cannabis every month.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they sold 101,000 pounds of cannabis in fucking Michigan in
Yep.
1 month.
Yep. A short month.
101,000 pounds.
A short month.
Yeah.
February 1st to the 28th.
So, like, now all of us are we're like, "Wait, I'm incriminated for this small amount?" That'd
Mhm.
be like, and I think you should outlaw sugar, right? A lot more of us are dying from diabetes and issues of that nature, and it's directly caused by fucking abuse of sugar, right? So why don't we limit the amounts of sugars that people have? But the problem is I can have I mean, they will sell you satchels full of that shit, dude.
Mhm.
50 kilos at a time
Yep.
or whatever. They don't give a shit. They'll sell
You can
you
get it
pallets of the
wholesale.
shit. But yeah, it's this is an absurd thing to regulate to me. The way that the regulation is set against it, the way that they've regulated who can access it and who can sell it and who can be the
Mhm.
profiteers from it. This is one of the biggest taxation without representation. I keep saying the damn words. It's an unfortunate truth. Uh, if you, the shit is so in motion now. The monsters are the monsters. You know how you take down one of the monsters? You buy their licenses.
That's
It's
right.
the only way.
Either outlast them or, outbid them.
Well, but how does anybody have the ability to outlet if you're small, how are you going to outlast somebody who is literally choking off the source of your like revenue?
You don't. You get in with a bigger management company who advises you, and then you open up that lane, and then it's just a lane for you to give people money and for big corporations to control the craft grows.
And yeah. It's
I
just sad
mean,
that yeah,
it is what it is.
so few get to be so profitable, but then those few also get to fail to pay their fucking bills. Now, and my guesstimation is that that has something to do with bigger loans that you've already taken
Yeah.
out. You've overloaned yourself. You've overleveraged yourself. Nobody wants your crap fucking cultivation center, your shitty fucking dispensary.
Infuser's
Nobody
license.
wants to be part of the fucking Illinois market. This is where a lot of big players have come and grown out of, but it was because they figured out how hard it was to access the markets in Illinois, and they went, "Wait, it's easy over there," and then they just all spread the fuck out
Yep.
to all these other places because the people who like the you and I's of the world, we were intimidated at the beginning of this thing to ever try to invest a dollar into this. Why would you? You were a fool. It
Right.
didn't seem reasonable. And the guys that I know that did invest heavily into this have lost 50, $100,000
Mhm.
trying to win a license. And I personally, because I know them personally, will tell you that they are far more qualified to represent cannabis than the fools who do.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Who knows? I'm hopeful for individuals to have proper access to cannabis, but the best that we do in proximity is Michigan, right? As long
Yeah,
you know,
for
and
now.
it's nice that we do here in Illinois when you should, and thank God I worked at a dispensary group, right? Like I had direct access, very cheap. Well, not
Mhm.
very cheap, but more, employee discounts and shit. Plus the fucking what do you call it? Sample program and shit.
Yeah,
I used to get some samples here and there. So like I was grateful to have access to cannabis for the last 10 months. And now that I don't like that, I'm like, well, fuck. I can't go to these places.
right.
One, fuck most of them, right? Like, fuck you, you fuck with me, fuck you, right? But then two, it's like, I'm unemployed. Fuck am I gonna afford that shit? How fuck am I gonna get taxed 40%?
Good
No
thing you got
fucking
good thing you got some homies that grow.
well, and that's my whole point is like, if it wasn't for other access,
Mhm.
reasonable access, medical license holding access, right?
Yep.
Like, what the fuck else would we be, right? Like, yeah, this shit is like,
Another failed program of the state.
well, and
Another
that's
failed program of the state. That's where we're at right now.
yeah,
And more people are starting to realize that it's just another failed program of the state, and we have to change it.
I saw this thing the other day about how many people are like making laws against cannabis,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
It was like all the red states are fucking trying to actually restrict access to it again
Mhm.
because that's part of their agenda, and all the blue states are trying to get more tax money from it. So they all started off going really well and going, "Here's access to cannabis," but now they're going, "Oh, well, the other state over there makes 40% off of it. We're gonna make that amount too. We're not foolish. We're not gonna shoot ourselves in the foot." So both ends of it. It doesn't matter if
Mhm.
you vote red, you vote blue. It doesn't fucking matter. Both sides suck because both of
Right.
their agendas is
Yes.
against access.
I mean, I always say, and it just happened again. Uh, One side wants to tax us at 33%. The other one wants us to tax us at 36%. And when the time comes to sign the funding bill, we just hit $36 trillion for a spending bill. The left and the right came together, as they always do, and they raised the debt ceiling, they raised the debt limit, and it's more spending, more spending, more spending, more spending. They can always come together for that. Other than that, one side's Nazis, the other one's communists. They're both the worst thing that's
Socialist,
ever happened.
fascist, fucking all the
It's
it's
the worst thing that's ever happened. Don't pay attention that we just keep spending more and more money, but we always come together because we're just humans.
and that's why like
We don't actually hate each other.
I try my hardest to exist in my world, right?
Yep.
All of
You
that
and I both,
shit
baby.
very
Yep.
much so exists out there. I don't give a fuck about it.
Nope.
Do I know about it? Am I
Yep.
understood to it? Do I pay attention to some of it so that I can try to navigate the fucking
Correct.
waters and not piss
Correct.
anybody off and not be on the fucking wrong end of whatever the fuck is
Correct.
coming, right? All this anger and
Yep.
despair and whatever.
Yep.
Fuck all that. You know what I do? I smoke my weed. I go hide in the fucking woods. I hang out with good ass fucking people. It's literally like
Hmm.
minded community.
Hmm.
That's what this thing is on the backbone of. That's
Yep.
what all of us agree about. This
Hmm.
is this agreeable space where none of us fight,
Yep.
where none of us have to argue. Even if I have
Where
different
everybody's
views than
welcome.
you, that's okay. Hit this, bro. I got you.
Yep.
We're friends
And
still.
even if I got a problem with you, like, hit this, let's figure it out, and then, like, let's be over it. You know what I mean? No hate. Like, let's just, it's all good. That's what everybody wants. And instead we get fighting and
Well, and
exclusivity
the
and
reason why all of this shit, right, is it's purely out of like greed, right? It's purely out of profiting. These
Mhm.
people want to make money off of the thing that all the rest of us are going, doesn't need to be that fucking complicated. It
Right.
does not need to be this fucking hard. So like what are we I don't know. What are we doing? I
Well, I'm railing against the system by having a podcast with my friend. So that's what I'm doing about it, and I'm advocating for people to show up to things like the
for
Consumption
themselves.
Act, and for themselves, take their health back in their own hands. Smoke weed every day, and be a good person. Support dope people.
To community.
Community,
Like,
baby.
the things, like, as frustrated as all you and I get more frustrated, I think, when we do this thing. I get more animated,
Yeah,
excited, but it's purely with the underlying, like, why are we not more agreeable? Why are we not more a community? Don't we all consume this fucking plant? Doesn't this thing, when you consume it, doesn't make you feel good?
yeah,
Doesn't it make you say,
yeah.
"Fuck it all"? Yeah, but and if you're literally smoking it, and then you're, like, jumping on the news and shit, and that's just how, "Well, this is just the routine of my life." Well, you're fucking yourself over, alright?
Well, you're practicing negativity, and this goes back to something you were saying earlier about psilocybin and brain spasticity and making new neural pathways. There's been studies, and I think we might have gone over them, but that show that when you do things on under the influence of cannabis and psilocybin, you practice new things. You're opening new pathways to learn how to do that. So if you're participating in negativity in cannabis, then when you smoke cannabis, you're just practicing negative things.
Uh, good in,
Yep.
good out,
Good out. That's right.
right? Good
Good
in,
in, good out. That's
good
right.
out, you know? Yeah, hey, get you some of that
100%.
good is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Go to Michigan.
I don't know. I don't know, I'm not saying no, and there is really quality product around here, which sucks,
Sure.
right? It's the reason it sucks is because I wish that people had more access to it. It would not yeah,
Mm,
those things are fire. I wish that people had more access to these things because, I mean, literally this little puck of Dabstract shit right here, and I won't even hate it. I'll show you another brand that I think is doing okay, but it's expensive. How the fuck is any one of us supposed to afford it? How can you afford spending $60 a gram with 40% taxation? It's going to cost you $85
mhm.
to, like, nobody can sustain that long term. For 1 gram of something, I will smoke that in 1 fucking day.
That's why it's why gotta go get up to Michigan, get you some archive cannabis reserve. Yum yum.
I mean,
Good
dude,
stuff. Black maple.
I just, I wish more people had access here, the proper access, because there is a lot of products that I would love to, and I still, no matter what, I will openly express my love for things that I
Yeah.
think are good, period,
Yeah.
right? Like,
PTS
even as
body oil. Good stuff.
PTS body oil, amazing. I
Great
don't even
stuff.
care how much
PTS
Aphid
flour,
Kush
not
might
not
whatever they
so.
got, they did the shit out of it, and that shit's like some distillate stuff anyway, so you got nothing to
Mhm.
worry about.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been cleaned up, remediated.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
remediation free.
What?
Not remediation free.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Well, and that's okay.
it's all good.
It's alright.
But hey, so yeah, good show today. We love you all. Smoke weed every day.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Peace.
Peace.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.